Now, Home Affairs has deported a Lithuanian actress, Leva Andrejevait, after she lied about her asylum status. She fabricated a story about seeking asylum because of the war in Ukraine in April. She was allowed to enter South Africa to apply for asylum within 5 days of arriving at the Cape Town International Airport without a visa. But she never applied. For more on this, let's go to Home Affairs Minister Dr. Motsoaledi to give us more details about this particular case. Minister, thank you very much for your time here on All Angles. Tell me more about, what this actress has done. I know that part of your statement says she firstly arrived here in a private jet with no papers allowing her to actually be here.
Yes, good afternoon, Marcelo, and good afternoon to the listeners and viewers. Indeed, that's what happened. She arrived here on a chartered flight with other passengers. She's the only one who did not have any requisite documents to enter South Africa, in this case a visa, because a person from Lithuania needs a visa to enter South Africa. And she insisted on coming in. Lawyers phoned immigration officials to try and bully them into allowing her to come in. When the immigration officers stood their ground, they then decided that she must claim asylum. And instead, in terms of asylum laws, when somebody say they want to claim for asylum in a country, they are given an opportunity to do so. And unfortunately, she was given that opportunity. And she emerged in a party, as we said, organized by Bob Heslov, the British billionaire. Basically, that's what she was coming for, because immediately after that party, she then wanted to go home when she realized that actually immigration officials kept her passport pending her application for asylum status. She then rushed to court to try and bully the courts again to give her a passport to leave by claiming that her freedom of movement and the country is very bad, the immigration laws are bad, we are not welcoming to visitors, etc. But the court did not entertain that. They called a bluff by striking that urgent application of the role. She now realized she's stuck in South Africa. She's trapped. That's when she came out to start claiming that she was misled. She wanted to apologize. She was misled by lawyers to apply for asylum when she was not supposed to have done so. And so she thought she must apologize and leave. We thought, okay, you can do that apology, which she did, and eventually it became an order of court. But we then said she must pay everything to the state, because we had to defend that case in court. We had to hire lawyers. We had to spend money. We said she must pay every cent. But in addition, that we are going to declare her a prohibited person for the next 5 years. She can't visit South Africa, whether she has got documents or not. And after 5 years, she will have to reapply for the country to lift that status of being prohibited.
And this also speaks to what you've been trying to fight against, Minister, in terms of the disrespect of our laws, particularly immigration laws in South Africa. She did apologize, of course, and there is punishment against her or a sanction. Is she one example? What should happen when somebody, for instance, lies under oath and disrespects, as she says in her own apology letter, disrespects a state the way that she did?
Well, by the way, we had already reported a criminal case in court before she came to apologize. Now, Marcelo, our dilemma was this. If we reject the apology and keep her here in South Africa for that trial, we also do spend money in this type of things. Here is an unwanted person who has visited your country by lying. She wants to go back home. You keep them against their will. And we have to choose. And we realize that the better devil is to allow her to go, declare her undesirable, and let her pay all the expenses that we have incurred. That's the decision we have taken. And now on the issue of people undermining our laws, perhaps, Marcelo, we might be the one who gave an impression to people, especially from developed countries in Europe, that South Africa, illegal or in any other irregular way, is for grabs. Maybe we gave that impression. And I want to bring an end to that impression that the sovereignty of this country must be respected like any other country, like where she comes from. Because I don't believe anybody can do that in a European country. They are just doing it here because it's Africa. They believe everything is up for the take.
There's also a ruling that was made by the High Court in the Western Cape, Minister, and I'm just interested to know your reaction to it in terms of the Immigration Act and parents, for instance, who moved this side, met a South African person and had children with that person. There was a part of it, provisions of it that the High Court found were unconstitutional, and now Parliament will be given, I think, 12 to 24 months to discuss it. It's also waiting for the Constitutional Court to give it confirmation. Just your reaction to that particular ruling that basically says some of the provisions of that act are unlawful.
It is the Immigration Act, Act number 13 of 2002. Certain portions of it were declared unconstitutional by the High Court in the Western Cape. We are still studying it. We think there are certain areas that are problematic, but I can't comment until we sit with our lawyers and study it. But be that as it may, Marcelo, I've long mentioned that we have started a process to overhaul the immigration laws of the country because they are problematic. You may remember that when I read my budget speech early in May, and even last week in the NCOP, early in May in the National Assembly, I actually alluded to that fact that we have got immigration laws here that are very problematic, that needs to be overhauled. And I said overhaul means exactly that. So coincidentally, some of the issues that were debated in court are the areas that I'm targeting for overhaul, but we still believe certain parts of the judgment need to be studied further before we can make any comment.
All right, Minister, before I let you go, I just have to ask you in terms of the extradition process of the Gupta brothers, just explain to us, if you can, from a Home Affairs perspective, how far we are in that and exactly what role does Home Affairs play in this process?
Yeah, unfortunately, Marcelo, we played no role at all in extradition. It's an of the Department of Justice. All we did on our part, as we have announced before, was to follow up how Bush got his documents because he had permanent resident status in the country, and we discovered that it was irregular. And the chief director, who was responsible for it in that, as we have heard, was fired 2 weeks ago. 4 other officials are still going for DC, and the Hawks and NPA are also still busy investigating the matter. That's all Home Affairs can do. The issue of extraditing Bushiri himself is the job of the Department of Justice and the NPA. And unfortunately, Home Affairs plays no role in that regard.
I understand about Bushiri. I meant the role that you have played with the Gupta brothers.
Well, we don't play any role also in their deportation. All we did was to refuse to renew their passport because remember, one of them, a passport expired and he wanted to renew it. And we refused and we said, we can't renew a passport of somebody who's on the run. Now that they've been indicted and they are in jail, it shows that we were actually correct in that stand. And again, that is the only stand we could take. The issue of deportation for the Guptas also rests with the Department of Justice and the NPA. And Home Affairs once more plays no role at all.
All right, Minister Aaron Motsoaledi, thank you very much for the clarification and for your time here on All Angles. Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi, Minister of Home Affairs. Let's take you